always ask me, how did you accomplish the things that you accomplished? And when you do these things, you don't really think about how are you accomplishing them, you just do them. So I had to think now, and I realized that, I was fortunate enough to grow up, in a family where I was so inspired. Both my parents were strong characters, fighters who established businesses during apartheid, ingekabi BEE. And just growing up, watching them was just such an inspiration. And both of them, my father was very strong on education. So in my family, you couldn't just uphele kwi-matric. You had to go, up to the highest level. But also, my father's brothers were in business. I grew up in Amtata and Lora Ulapa, where black people, after independence, they had opportunities to go into business, sort of formalish businesses, wholesalers, garages, shops in town. So I grew up with a lot of inspiration. It would have been amiss of me not to take full advantage of the opportunities that I had. But also, then I had this opportunity to work in my father's panel beating shop, where I got exposed to accounting for the first time. I didn't even know that there was such a profession existing. And that's where the inspiration to become a chartered accountant started. So when I started articles at KPMG, I was very fortunate to have a vision to establish my own firm very early on. And you'd ask, why would I have a dream like that? It was because the first African firm of chartered accountants was started in my hometown in Umtata by Professor Ngulu. So it was not difficult to have inspiration. But of course, inspiration alone is not enough. You've got to have your own dreams and you have to have the courage to pursue them. So I then had this dream of having my own, and a time came when I had to pursue it. I remember how I was so discouraged by my own father, who was in business, saying, "Yo, Mtanam, how can you leave such a cushy job?" I had a senior position at the Transkei Development Corporation at the time, to go, taking this risk. But I knew that people were expressing their own fears. I had no such fears. There's this thing when you are an entrepreneur that you actually have the courage to pursue your dreams. So I was like, no, Tata, this is what I want to do. But of course, when you go into business as a young entrepreneur, you are just thinking about success. First month, in reality hits cash flow, tomato. Yo, salaries, oh my God, I pay salaries. So, but you wake up from those challenges that you face and you realize that, we are here to succeed, and therefore you just have to do it. So, as a black woman, opportunities are not open for you. After 18 months of doing small jobs, here and there, I said, no, I didn't leave TTC for these small jobs. Where are the bigger jobs? I began to knock on those doors, and they wouldn't open. And when they don't open, you bang, until they open. And, the big thing happened. I got this big job from the Transkei government, and I was able to grow my business from 3 people to 30 people and 2 offices in the Eastern Cape. Because we have to, use these opportunities to grow when you get them. And so that has been my philosophy in life. When you reach a certain point, you have to dream again. And the next dream was a medium-sized black firm after 1994 to seize the opportunity of a free South Africa. And again, you know, you establish this medium-sized black firm, the firm grows from, you know, those 30 people to 200 staff and 10 partners and 4 offices around South Africa. We were fortunate at that time to be given an opportunity by Stella Sikau, who opened the Transnet for us, and for the first time, we were able to not just watch on the sidelines big accounting firms doing these big jobs. We were given that opportunity. We actually used that opportunity to grow our businesses even further. Tomato Aba were the ones who were empowering us, by CFO, by Transnet. So after that, you have to dream again. I'm emphasizing this thing of dreaming because I see that it's being emphasized here again, and I want you to hear it over and over again. Dream again. Again, you know, as a black person, you grew up in a situation where you were always told that there are things that you can't do. You can't run a big business. And I was saying, why? Why can't I run a big business? And at that time, we were really tired of playing second fiddle to the big four. I don't think Stella Sikau thought that we would always be playing this second fiddle for such a long time, not being at the center of the economy of our own country. So again, I went to my colleagues to say, can we come together and establish a big accounting firm? Because they're saying they can't give us opportunities because we're small. And people are fearful, you know, we've established these big black accounting firms now. Why should we risk everything, Nonkululeko, to pursue this dream of yours? And eventually they were persuaded. That's when we established the big accounting firm. You heard the story here, I'm not gonna repeat it. But, you know, then that small firm that started with 3 people grew now to over 1,000 staff, 55 partners, offices in the continent. And because these things are possible, I want to say, you know, this thing of dreaming, I believe that within the dream is the power of fulfillment. That's why we have to dream.
Okay.
And we must not be afraid to dream. And when you get to a certain level, you've got to dream the next dream, as you saw with the ladies here, that they started their businesses where they started them, but when they reached a certain level, they then decided to move their businesses even bigger. This is what we have to do. And so that is really the story, really, to say that there is nothing that we cannot do. And I want the young people here to understand that there is nothing that we cannot do. And I want to share just a little story in closing, that you'll say, oh, she's an entrepreneur, I'm not an entrepreneur, you know, I'm not in business, they're all in business. What can we do? I had a dream to you know, work overseas for a year or 2. And because my circumstances changed, I got married, I started a business, I couldn't. But there came a time when this dream, you know, was like, I need to do something. And I started to look for an opportunity, and I got this opportunity to go on this program by Investec in 1995, where I could do 5 weeks at Merrill Lynch in New York. And that happened because I was determined to see my dream fulfilled. So I don't want you to say, oh, they are big people, they are business people. Your dream, pursue it. Thank you.